Thank you so much for joining me today. We'll start today by coming down into a comfortable seated position. Now, that could be sitting crisscross applesauce. You can sit on your legs. You could sit on a stool. Maybe you bring a block under your hips or a pillow. You can always be crisscross applesauce. You can send your legs out long. You can sit in the middle of your space and maybe even bring your back up against a wall for a little bit more support. As we settle in here, we'll maybe allow our eyes to close, or maybe we simply soften our gaze today, letting it blur over. As we find this comfortable seated position, take a deep breath in, really allowing your lungs to fill with that fresh, invigorating air. And as you exhale, see if you can start to release the tension or stress or anxiety that you may or may not be holding on to at this moment. We'll take a moment to notice us on our space in our seat right now, feeling the ground underneath you, maybe even the temperature of the air that surrounds you in your room today. And then we'll begin to start imagining ourselves in a winter landscape, surrounded by crisp, cool air. Might not be hard to imagine today, being a little chillier. Maybe even picture a soft blanket of snow covering the ground around you. See if you can feel the coolness on your skin. Despite the chill in the air, begin to visualize a warm, glowing light at the center of your being. A radiant source of inner warmth. And then with each breath, draw this inner warmth from your core and let it spread throughout your body. Imagining it as a comforting light of any color. And it travels from the top of your head, slowly creeping over every muscle, joint, and ligament as it makes its way down to the tips of your toes, melting away not only tension, but also stiffness, achiness. Feel the warmth spreading through the muscles and the joints, soothing them, allowing them to relax more deeply. As you continue to bring your awareness back into our wintry landscape of the present moment. Noticing the sounds around you. Maybe you can hear the crackling of a distant fire, or the rustle of leaves in your winter landscape, or even just the silence of a newly fallen snow on a winter day. Embrace the stillness. Let it settle within you. Once again, shifting that focus to the sensation of the warmth within. Picturing this inner heat expanding beyond your body, creating a protective cocoon that shields you from the winter's chill. Allow yourself to be fully present in this moment, appreciating the contrast between the cold exterior and the comforting warmth within. With each breath, begin to let go of any thoughts that may be lingering in your mind. Allow your awareness to rest in the gentle rhythm of your breath, in the serene warmth enveloping you. This is not only a time for mindfulness, but also a time for rest and to rejuvenate the spirit. As we draw our grounding meditation towards its close, see if you can carry the sense of inner warmth with you into the rest of your day, or even the night or the week ahead. Whenever you encounter the winter cold, remember that radiant light within you. And maybe the peace that comes from being simply present in the moment. Then start to take our breathing exercise. This breathing exercise is designed to build a little warmth and heat internally in the body. The breath of fire is what it's called. We'll build this breath slowly, taking a great big inhale in. And then as we exhale, it'll be short, forceful exhales through the nose if it's available. And your inhale happens naturally, passively. You might even feel your navel start to rhythmically pump with this breath. Now we'll take this for a few cycles together. And at any point, if you start to feel dizzy or lightheaded, or you're not being able to breathe through your nose because you're congested for some reason today, feel free to simply visualize this fire breath today, imagining the heat it's building in your body mentally. We'll go ahead and start that breath now. Inhaling fully, exhales forcefully through the nose. And then after a few rounds, take another deep inhale and continue at your own pace. Last round if you're still taking it. Allow your breath to find its natural rhythm, not changing it or forcing it in any way. Maybe simply take this last moment to notice how the body is feeling. Notice that internal heat versus that exterior chill. And then maybe offer yourself a bit of gratitude that you joined me here on the mat to warm up today. And then as you're ready, start to add a little movement, wiggling fingers and toes, fluttering the eyes open. And when you're ready, coming into a comfortable crisscross seated position with the right leg in front or on top of that left leg. And as always, if crisscross doesn't work, you're welcome to take any seated position that feels good for you. We'll start by letting the arms float out to the side and up overhead, either wide or closer together. Feeling that length through the side body as you reach and exhale and drop the hands through prayer. Great job. Inhale, reach. Feel that length and extension. And with this next exhale, we're going to drop the right hand to the floor, or maybe even to a prop outside of the right hip. We're going to start to take a hinge as we lift that left hand up overhead a little higher, stretching and lengthening through the left rib cage. And then if you want to take it a little further into a rainbow arc by bending the elbow or walking the fingertips a little further, you're welcome to do that as well. All right, then we're going to take that top hand. We're going to drop it as we bend through the left elbow, letting the hand come to support the head, and the elbow now reaching as high as it can towards the ceiling. Notice if that changes anything. And then with our next exhale, as slowly as we can, we're going to circle that top elbow down towards the floor or towards your right knee, taking a twist through the torso and the spine. Inhale, lift it back up and maybe even go a little bit further behind you. And then take this at your own pace. So if it feels good to hold it, feel free to hold it and just really enjoy. If it feels better to find some dynamic movement, exhale as you release, elbow towards the floor. You can go just simply as fast or as slow here, as feels good, but noticing how it feels to move through the spine today as we start to get a little bit of movement. Great job. Your next inhale, let that elbow reach towards the ceiling. And then we'll inhale to come back to lift both arms up and overhead. And then exhale, let's twist towards that same side, twisting our gaze towards the right shoulder. That left hand can either be inside the left leg or outside the right knee. And your right hand is behind you on the floor, prop twisting here. Great job. Inhale back through center. This time as the arms float up, maybe the gaze does too. It can come to where the ceiling meets the wall or maybe a little bit higher even. Beautiful job. Our next exhale allows that left hand to come down to the floor or prop outside of the left hip as you reach your right fingertips really just as high as you can reach them, lengthening, feeling that extension through the right side of the body, opening everything up. And then maybe with an exhale, you find a little bit of a rainbow arch over towards the left side. One last breath here. Our next exhale releases the hand behind the head. Elbow pulls a little higher. You're doing great. And then with your own movement and your own intention, start to drop the elbow on your exhale and lift and maybe even take it a little further back on your inhale. Just like the other side, you might find that you want to move at the same pace as you did before. Or you might find that this side feels a little different and wants to move either more or less. Great job. Next, inhale, elbow really reaches up. And then let both arms float up, maybe look up. Exhale, twist to the left. Great job. As we inhale, we'll allow ourselves to float back through center. And then exhale to bring it down through a child's pose. Down through a prayer. From there, we're gonna move on to our knees. Always welcome to add a cushioning if you're on a hard surface. We'll start by taking our knees out wide and sitting back on our heels or a prop. And then start to take your hands forward in a child's pose. You can drop the head between the arms as much as possible. Lengthening through the spine here. Great job. And you can even have your hands on a prop here if you would rather have them resting on a prop versus the floor. Now let's start to walk the hands over to the right side of our space, taking it through a side stretch. And then with our exhale, we come back through center over to the left. Inhale to come back through center, child's pose. And then as we inhale, let's lift up about halfway. For this next pose, we're going to go back over to the right side and we're going to take it into a little bit of a twist. So we have an option of bringing our left elbow to the floor or maybe just to a prop like a block on that left side. And then take your right hand and start to make a prayer pose as you twist towards your right elbow. Exhale to release that. Take it over to the left. Again, elbow can be on the floor, on your prop at any height as you create that prayer pose and start to twist towards the left. Great job. Exhale to come back through center, halfway lift. And now we're going to take into a shoelace or a thread the needle pose. So we're going to take our right arm and we're going to cross it under our left arm, under the body. And then take that left arm, cross it in front of the right arm. Now you can stay up high. You can start to sink it a little bit lower. You could even bring a prop like a block under your forehead to help support you. But as you sink your torso down, stretching through opposite shoulders. Great job. Let's inhale to come back up. And then we're going to switch sides. So whatever hand was in front, whatever hand was in back, switch it up. And then as you're ready, send them out long, shoelace arms. Beautiful job. We've done a great job warming up through our upper body, but let's start to add a little bit of lower body movement as well. So go ahead and bring your hands under your shoulders and press yourself up into a tabletop. Feel free to move any props out of your way. We're going to put our hands under our shoulders and then let's start to take some big circles here. Pulling our heart forward, around and back, going in one direction a couple of times. Giving a nice stretch through the wrist a little bit. Maybe you start to even get into it a little sassy with your shoulders and your hips. And then let's reverse our circles. All right, go ahead and find a little bit of stillness. Walk your knees in so they're about hip distance, and then come to stand on your knees, tucking your toes behind us. We're going to take a camel variation here. So if you like using blocks during your camels, feel free to bring those back by your heels as we set up here. As we inhale, we're gonna start to raise our arms up and overhead, reaching them up. And then just like before, we'll start to lift the gaze. Now you're always welcome to keep your gaze just where the wall and the ceiling meet up there, if that feels like the best lift for your neck. Or you can start to lift it up a little bit higher, letting your gaze come maybe in between your hands. And then wherever we're at, we're gonna start to push our hips forward and let our hands drop behind our head. Now our gaze might stay where it is, or our gaze might follow it into this lovely back bend. Exhale to release, bringing gaze to the horizon. All right, now you're welcome to always keep this hands up position, or if you'd like, maybe bring your hands to your hips, letting them rest on your lower back, fingertips down, and squeeze those elbows together. So just like before, we'll start to push those hips forward, lift the heart, lift the gaze to wherever feels good for you. You can let your hands start to lean back if you're taking the arm lifted version. Your hands are on your hips, they can stay there, or you could maybe bring them towards those props, like your blocks or your heels. Wherever you're at in your camel, we're making sure our gaze and our neck feel supported, and that we're just not dumping it back down the spine, letting the weight of the head dump. Beautiful breath here. One last movement of breath. And then as we inhale, if your hands were lowered, bring them to your hips. And then we'll all bring our gaze to the horizon and straighten out through our spines. Beautiful job. From here, we're going to come on up to standing. We're going to get there in our own time and in our own way. We'll stand in our mountain, letting our hands rest by our sides. And then as you're ready, inhale to let the arms float up and overhead. So just like in that seated pose, feel that length and extension. We're going to pause here and then lift one heel and then the other. Take a moment going back and forth, noticing how that feels through the feet and the legs. Great job. Go ahead and bring both heels back down. And as we exhale, bring those fingertips down into your forward fold. Hands on legs, hands on your prop, or reaching down towards the ground. Keep a nice bend in the knees here. It's our first forward fold. Maybe you grab opposite elbows. Maybe you keep your hands where they are, but try to take a little sway from side to side. Let your head drop. The neck release, shake your head yes and no, slide the jaw a little bit, and then come to stillness. Press into your hands wherever they're located, halfway lift, the gaze stays down. We're working towards a figure 7 as we slightly straighten those legs. They don't have to be completely straight, but we're straightening them just a little bit more than in our forward fold. Beautiful job. From here, let's go ahead and take that right leg and cross it over the left leg. Now it can be crossed where they're touching or one just in front of the other one, whatever feels better for you. And then with your exhale, sink back into that forward fold and notice how that feels through the outer edges of your hips and IT band. Now begin to walk your hands over to the right side of your space as you shift your hips to the left. And then begin to walk your hands over to the left side of your space and shift your hips to the right. Beautiful job. Come back through center. Inhale to halfway lift, keeping the legs just as they are. Exhale, hinge it into your forward fold, maybe going just a little bit deeper. Press into your hands to halfway lift. We're going to uncross the legs and cross them with the other leg in front. Exhale, hinge and forward fold. Noticing if that feels any different from this side than the other side. And then let's walk our hands over to the left side of our space, shifting our hips to the right.
And then bring it through center to the right and shift the hips to the left. Beautiful job. Last time coming through center. Exhale, fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold it a little deeper. Beautiful job. Inhale, halfway lift. We're gonna uncross the legs, bringing them back into our mountain pose. And then bend the knees deeply, sink the hips towards the heels, and take a slow roll, coming all the way up to standing. Beautiful job. From our standing mountain pose. Let's step the left foot back into a warrior two, opening the knee to the side, opening the hips to the side, and then bending deeply into that front knee and starting to send the arms out wide to the side. Beautiful. We're going to take a moment here and make sure our foundation is feeling secure. As we're building that inner heat, we want to make sure that we're not feeling wobbly here. Beautiful job. Let's drop that back hand down the back leg. You can stay on the hip or slide down the back leg. And we'll lift our front hand up and overhead as we reverse our warrior. Great job. Inhale back to a T. And then let's find our side angle. Front hand can come to the knee or to an elbow as you swoop the back hand overhead or alongside the ear. Be careful not to let your back hip pop up, keeping that front leg straight. Inhale, we're going to reverse our warrior, but we're going to straighten that front leg. Beautiful job. Let's bring our arms down. Shift that hip and lift the back heel as you turn back forward. And then we're going to come from that lunge position into our mountain pose. And we'll take that sequence on the other side, that warrior sequence. So stepping the opposite foot back, the right foot back, we bend into the left knee and send the arms wide. Warrior two. You're doing a beautiful job here. Our next inhale reverses our warrior. Sink it in on your exhale. Inhale through your warrior two. And then exhale the side angle. Inhale to reverse your warrior, but straighten that front leg. Back to a T. Let the arms drop and then let the back heel lift as you turn towards the front of your space and step that back foot. Beautiful job. From here, we're going to inhale, lift the arms up and overhead. Exhale, rain it down on the exhale, bringing yourself into your forward fold. Bend the knees so deeply that you can plant the hands and step back into your tabletop. And then let's bring our right foot forward to come into a grounded lunge. Of course, you're welcome to cushion that back knee here as we take this grounded lunge flow. Now you can keep your hands on the floor or a prop. You can bring them up to that front knee, or maybe you inhale, shifting the weight forward and lifting the arms up and overhead. Just like before, we want to pull our thigh muscles towards each other, engaging through our lower body, but still keep our core tight no matter where we're at in our upper body. All right, we're doing great. We're going to channel that prayer twist we did from a child's pose as we start to twist towards our front knee. Now, our options are to bring our left hand onto that left right knee, either hand on knee or let the hand flip over in the outside of the arm and then twist open. Or if you like that prayer movement, you can hook the elbow and bring your hands to a prayer as you twist towards that right shoulder. As we inhale, we're gonna come back through our crescent lunge. We're gonna straighten through that front leg, pulling the toes back towards us. And with an exhale, we're gonna allow ourselves to hinge over that front leg. Hands can be on your leg, the floor, or a prop. If you're feeling this strongly in this half runner's lunge in the back of your knee, just bring a simple bend to move the stretch into the thigh muscle. As we inhale, we're gonna roll back onto the sole of our foot. Inhale back through our crescent lunge of choice. And then with our exhale, we're gonna drop our hands inside of that front leg. And maybe walk the foot out to the side as we come just into a lizard lunge for a moment. We're gonna keep the opposite hand planted and then twist that right hand up behind you. Wonderful grounded crescent flow. Go ahead and bring your hands back to the mat on either side of the front foot. And then we're gonna take that right foot, step it back through our tabletop. And then let's switch sides, bringing left foot forward, sinking heels, hips, heart. And then as you're ready, lifting up into crescent lunge of your choice. Feel that length, feel that extension. Exhale, twist to the front knee. Finding your prayer twist or a variation that feels good in this moment. Beautiful job. Inhale, crescent lunge. Exhale, half runner splits. Hinging over that front leg, pulling those toes back towards your shin. Inhale, crescent lunge. Exhale, lizard lunge. Drop those hands inside the front leg. We're just holding here for just a moment. Great job. Inhale, crescent lunge. Exhale, plant the palms. Step it back to your tabletop. Beautiful job. Alrighty, from your tabletop, go ahead and take away any props that you are not going to need for the next movements. We're gonna come into a downward dog. Now you're always welcome to take your downward dog from the floor or to come up to a wall or a piece of furniture in your home. If you're taking it from the floor, we'll walk our hands forward, we'll tuck our toes, and we'll start to let the knees hover and then lift them up so we create that V shape. We're choosing to take our downward dog from a wall or maybe a piece of furniture. We still bring our hands to that shoulder distance apart, but this time we walk our heels back so that we can make that V shape. Now take a moment here in your downward dog to pedal through the legs, just like we did in our standing mountain pose. Bending one knee, lifting the heel, lowering it, noticing how that feels. And then let's start to find a little bit of stillness and take just a big breath here with a sigh on our exhale. Great job. Now start to lift your right leg. You can keep the toes along the mat, or you can even lift them off the mat a little or a lot, coming into a three-legged dog. And then with our next inhale, bring your knee towards your nose, towards your torso, rounding through the spine. Inhale, send it long. Beautiful job. But just building a little bit of heat here, that internal heat, knee to nose. Exhale, send it long. And last time, inhale, knee to nose. And then come back into your downward dog. We'll take that great big breath, sigh it out. Inhale, shift to the left, lift those left toes. A little or a lot, three-legged dog. Inhale, knee to nose. Exhale, send it long. Knee to nose, curl. Exhale, send it long. You're doing great. Last one, inhale, knee to nose. Exhale, send it long. Okay, downward dog. From here, we're gonna look back towards our feet, and then we're gonna start to walk our hands towards our feet as we come into a forward fold. A standing forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, tall mountain. Exhale, bring it down through a prayer. Beautiful job. Now take just a moment to notice how you're feeling. If you're feeling like the internal heat has built up quite a bit, or is it calm still in your body? All right, we're gonna take one more push of building that internal heat. And for this one, you may choose that you want to have a prop like a wall or even a chair or a piece of furniture nearby by the side that's not being worked on, just as a little added support. We're going to come into our mountain pose, and then we're going to step the right foot back in a lunge position, a high lunge this time. Both knees are bent. Take a moment here to really feel how this feels. If you're feeling wobbly, widen how far your feet are wide to make it a little less wobbly. Now, throughout this practice, we can keep our hands on our hips. We can bring them to a prayer, or again, you can have one on a prop for support. We're then going to take that back foot, that right foot, we're going to step it back into our mountain, and then we're going to step it out to the side and take a side lunge to the right. Step it back to your mountain, step it back to your lunge. Start to take this at your own pace. So go slow and mindful, or to build a little more internal heat, you could pump it up a little bit. Great job. Last time on this side. Come back through center. And then we're going to take it on the left side. Step the left foot back, lunge. Take a moment, make sure you're feeling steady here. All right, then step it back in. To the left and side lunge. Start to take this movement at your own pace. Now your steps could be big steps, they could be shallow steps. It's up to what your body is feeling in this moment. And remember, this is a balance challenge, so finding a spot on the floor that's not moving can be really helpful in keeping that balance. Great job. Last time, come back through center. Take a moment, maybe even close your eyes. Sense that internal heat. Maybe the fast heartbeat. Our next inhale, we're going to allow the hands to rise. We're going to step the feet out as wide as our mat, toes out, heels in. And as we exhale, we're going to sink into a squat. And then we'll find our way coming down into a seated position. We'll bring our hands behind us on the mat. We'll lift up through our heart space. We'll go ahead and keep those knees bent towards the ceiling, the feet about hip distance apart. And then start to walk your heels towards your hands. Really allow yourself to notice how that feels through those shoulders. Maybe press the heart up, maybe even look up here. Great job. Go ahead and shimmy those hips back towards your hands. And then we'll release that, coming over into a tabletop one last time in our practice. Or for one last series of movements in our practice. From our tabletop, we'll start to bring our right knee up towards our right shin, or our right wrist. And we'll come into a pigeon pose here, sending that left leg back as the right foot comes over towards the left side of our space. And as always, you're welcome to add a prop here under the hips for a little support. Now, instead of our traditional resting cobra, we're going to take just a little slightly different movement. We're going to take our hands out wider than our mat. And then we're going to allow the elbows to start to bend towards the sides. You can keep your fingers tented, or you can bring the palms down to the ground. But then we're going to start to dip the heart towards the floor, like a resting cobra. And as soon as we get to our lowest point, we'll then inhale, rounding through the spine, lifting back up. So it's almost like a sphinx or rolling cobra here. As we exhale to lower the heart and inhale to press it up. And notice how that's feeling through the glute and the spine. Think almost a cat-cow in the spine. The heart pulls down, the heart rounds up. Great job. All right, go ahead and walk the hands back under the shoulders, and then we'll come back into our tabletop. So drawing left knee in, right knee back, and then switch stuff. Sending that right leg back. Again, maybe there's a prop here at the hip. And just like on the other side, take your hands out to the wider position. Let the elbows bend out to the side. And then as you're ready, taking that cat-cow movement, that rolling sphinx through the spine. Go ahead and bring the hands back under the shoulders. This time we're gonna take a prop out of that left hip if there's one, and then send the hip down to the ground as you swing that right leg around. We'll come into a seated staff. We'll send the legs long. We'll send the arms up and overhead. And with an exhale, we'll hinge into a forward fold over our legs. And then as you're ready, bending the knees, shifting the hips towards the heels, and then let's roll back down onto our backs. We'll curl the knees in towards our chest, and then let's take some circles with the knees in unison, going in one direction, giving your lower spine a nice massage. And keep your hands on your legs, your knees, or your shins, whatever feels best for you. And then let's reverse it. Go ahead and find your stillness. Point and flex through the toes a few times and the ankles. And then as we inhale, we're going to find a happy baby, letting the knees fall out towards the side as the soles of the feet reach up towards the ceiling. You can find a little bit of movement or maybe a little rock from side to side. You can straighten legs, bend the knees. And then after you're ready with done with movement, go ahead and allow the soles of the feet to come towards the floor in a cobbler or butterfly pose, letting the feet come together, the knees go wide. You're always welcome to bring a bolster under the back for a little more support here. If you'd rather not be at a fully reclined position, you're always welcome to add props from blocks to blankets under the knees. If having them open like this feels like they could use a little support. We're gonna hold this last restorative pose for just a few breaths. So feel free to make any adjustments to ask yourself how you can make it feel better, and then simply choosing to do that. You can keep your hands on your body. You can let them rest at the sides. You can even take them overhead into a circle. Letting your head rest in between your hands. Now, as we get into this restorative pose, we started the class with a breath to build heat in the body. Now we're going to switch to a breath that will start to cool the body down. We'll take a square breath, breathing in for a count of 4, pausing at the top for a count of 4, exhaling for a count of 4, and then pausing for a count of 4 before repeating the cycle. Allowing ourselves to focus here on this breath. Maybe we even close the eyes. We come back to that sense of inner heat versus outer chill. See if you can expand your inner circle, inner warmth, so that it starts to create that bubble, the cocoon around you, willing the cool air away. Beautiful job. Now, if you're still taking the square breath, go ahead and release it to come back to your natural flow. We'll allow our hands to circle down by the legs. We'll push them together or we'll roll to one side as we come out of our cobbler pose. We'll find our way into our final resting pose. As always, you can add blocks, pillows, blankets, bolsters, maybe some socks if you're feeling a little bit chilly, or a sweater or hoodie. Really anything here that will help you start to come into a position that feels just a little bit more relaxing. As you settle in, maybe you close your eyes, or maybe you simply soften your gaze. We'll take a full breath in, holding it at the top. And then we'll take in one more sip of air. And then as you exhale, allow yourself to start to fall or transition into your final resting pose. Knowing that at any point, if you need to make a little movement, you are welcome to do so. So that you can completely and totally relax on command. See if you can soften your eyelids. Can you relax the space between your brows and the muscles around the corners of your eyes? Can you allow your jaw to release? Maybe even your tongue can soften in your mouth. Maybe, just maybe, you start to feel your whole body follow, finding complete relaxation as your breath becomes effortless and smooth. We'll end today's practice. We're picturing ourselves in a cabin in the woods. It's maybe a cabin you've been to before, physically or mentally, in a meditation previously.
This may be something that's only here in your imagination today. Your cabins and your mountains. It's the middle of winter. And evening is quickly turning into dusk. You are sitting comfortably in front of a fireplace. And you watch the flames dance. Their orange, white, blue, green glow. You can feel the heat from the flames on the front of your body. The coolness of the room behind you against your back body. Maybe you notice an almost itching sensation on your arms and legs from the intensity of the fire. You take a deep breath in as the aroma from the wood that is burning fills your lungs. Is that pine, maple, maybe oak? And you hear the loud crackling and hissing as the sap falls and hits the flames. You see the shadows flickering on the walls around you. The only light is coming from the orange flames. The rest of the cabin is in deep purple darkness. Maybe you see yourself getting up to walk to one of the windows. It's covered with a lacy pattern of frost. And as you put your warm fingertips on the cold, hard glass, you feel the warmth melting some of the frost on the other side of the glass. You look out the window, and the night is clear. Stars fill the sky as far as you can see. Tall trees cast purple shadows against the white snow. And there is a bluish tinge to everything, even the snow. Maybe you begin to explore this special cabin today. Maybe something even catches your attention as you pick it up, noticing the weight and the texture of your item. And anytime your mind might start to wander, draw it back into your special cabin. Your focus on your breath. Taking in another deep breath, you smell an almost sweet aroma, different from the smell of the wood burning. You follow the aroma until you find a warm mug of a drink that you forgot you set down. You begin to lift the mug up toward your mouth, the fragrance filling your lungs with its sweet dance. You take a sip, the flavors roll down your tongue and throat, warming your body from the inside. Caressing, warming,
Maybe you head back to your place by the fireplace. Maybe you hold your hands out to the flickering flames, feeling their warmth once more. And then you begin to sit or lay back on your couch, rug, or chair by the fireplace. You draw in the aroma of smoke and sweetness. You hear the crackling of the wood in the fire, and even the howling of the winds outside your window. And you simply allow yourself to smile, enjoying the beauty that surrounds you. In your special cabin. Simply breathing in and out, watching the flames dance. And then we'll take the deepest breath of our day so far. As we let the lights, sounds, the smells from our cabin fade from our mind, drift into further relaxation. And then slowly starting to wiggle fingers and toes. Maybe taking a full body stretch. Waking the body back up. As we come out of our meditation, we come up into an upright position in our own time, in our own way. Thank you so much for joining me today for this wonderful winter warmth meditation. I hope you have a great week ahead of you, and I look forward to seeing you sometime soon. Thank you so much.